Hi guys, welcome to the second installment of my scale method. This is the broad category of scales on one string, and this is the second one of one finger scales. So last time we did a one finger scale on the A string in the key of G, or 1 sharp, because as you will come to realize, it doesn't matter if you're in major or minor, it just depends on what note you have in your head when you're playing. I can show you that later with a drone. Now, today I'd like to demonstrate a scale, another one finger scale on the E string, this time in D major. Now, I don't think I said this before, but you should practice every string, every key. And so what I'm doing and what I do in my real life is go through all 4 strings and then just go through the circle of fifths. So just add a sharp, take away a sharp, add a flat, take away a flat. Just continue whichever way you choose to go. That way you hit all keys and you're not kind of out of luck if you have to play in a weird key. So 6 flats, no problem, no problem. We do these scales, so we know where the notes are on the fingerboard. All right, to just review the concept, we take one finger and one finger only in the key, and we play the range of an octave. So remember, we're in D major, so I'll start with F sharp. I should say we're in the key of 2 sharps, whatever that may be. And we're going to play 1 all the way up in this key, starting with the slides that I demonstrated in the last video. And then back down the same way. And you can do that on every string with every finger. Now that you have all the time in the world, go ahead. Now today, I'm going to show you some hacks or special exercises that you can add. I just kind of came to these on my own, and I invite you to come up with your own as well. You can either improvise on your own, or you can apply very specific technical ideas. And so I'll start with the very specific technical ideas, and then on the next 2 strings, I'll probably improvise a little bit more. So today I'd like to talk about trills and trill speed, and building up your trill speed through practicing these scales. And I'll also talk about string crossings and hand frame. So third finger, when we get to third finger, we never ever trill with 4th finger, right? Just is hardly ever fast enough. So anyway, when I get to 3rd and 4th fingers, I'll show a couple of different hacks that you can do to make things more interesting for yourself. Starting with 1st finger, we're going to do the trill exercise. Okay, so remember, we're going up, we're sliding. We're going to start with 1 trill, 1 hit with the upper finger. And the important part is what happens before you hit with the upper finger. So what you want to do is flex the hand back and keep everything nice and loose. Move the arm. Do some things. Keep the 3 points of contact. Very important to keep the 3 points of contact, whether it's the side of the finger or the hand, in your flex. So when you're up here, and you'll see this later, when you're flexing, you can come back with the arm fine. Just don't do this. Okay, that's bad news. Try to keep your hand frame relatively the same. So here's what that looks and sounds like. And you definitely want to hear the bone hitting the fingerboard. So raise the finger as high as you can, and then tap as fast as you can. Okay, now in the next step, add 2, but do the same thing. Try to make them as fast as possible. Try to think of each pitch as its own identity. Of course, try to do everything else that you were trying to do from the previous video. Play your ringtones, have perfect intonation, listen for that ring, that's the thing. Okay, now let's do second finger. You can do a little bit. A little bit differently. Because my goodness, if you've ever trilled, you know that trilling with 2 is different than trilling with 1. Okay, contradiction alert. Remember earlier when I said not to bend your wrist back? I'm catching myself doing that. And I think it's okay as long as you snap back into your frame right before you trill. Be aware of your 3 points of contact. Thumb, fingertip, and now side of the finger. Now add 2. Think about the balance of your hand. Think about what you're doing with your non-second finger. Not the finger you're using, but the other fingers. Especially 1, I would say. Are you going to allow 1 to flex back like this? Or are you going to try to keep it in the picture? Okay, third finger. Now I'm going to add a 6th underneath, which is played with the second finger on the A string. Now, don't freak out. It's either a half step or a whole step. That's all it is. It just depends what key you're in, but they're only going to be half steps and whole steps. So, third finger. So I'll start with the slide. And you'll notice I'm barely touching. Because one of the things you can do here is start to think about string crossings, which is a whole category of technique. You could try to think too much about string crossings, and I don't think you could. Now what I'm doing is just barely crossing, just barely touching the A, and I'm measuring the distance, which is slightly different by fractions of millimeters on every violin. Okay, that's one fun hack. Now when I go without the slide on the next step, this is a pro challenge. Okay, this is a little more difficult. This is stacked sixths. Hard to say. Try to say it fast. 5 times. Now again, this is just half steps and whole steps, and I'm playing with 2 and 1. 2 on the A, 1 on the D. And I'm in the key of 2 sharps. Okay, now I'm going to make it even harder, coming down. I'll play a different string crossing pattern. I'm going to play 1 on the E, 1 E by itself, then double stops, which requires a different arm weight on every single one. As a matter of physics, you need less arm weight on the E string than you do on the A, D, and G. G needs the most. If you're playing double stops, you need close to twice as much. It's hard to say precisely, which is why one needs to develop an instinct for it, which is best done through scale practice. 4th finger. Octaves! I'm doing the same thing with the bow, just barely touching the A. Teaching my muscles, my dumb muscles, exactly where that string is. Now it's good practice to base your octaves around the lower finger whenever possible, but there are many times in the repertoire that we have to find an octave coming from 4, so this will be handy in those cases. Now, pro challenge coming back down, stacked sixths, plus an octave at the end. And the string crossing that I'm going to use, it's all separate strings rocking over to the D, back to the E, and then a double stop. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.